Hey boos, in this video, I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. I haven't done anything for you to be proud of.
Of course you have. You are marrying a man who can support you.
I do apologize. I am very tardy, but girl, the allergies are whooping my ass. I went outside and then after the gym and I came back. Now my nose is stuffy and I was so excited to talk about this. I didn't want to put it off another day. So I do apologize, but if I'm sneezing throughout this live, if I'm hackling away, I apologize. I took some, what did I take? Zyrtex. So hopefully that works. But good afternoon. I'm so excited to do this deep dive with y'all. I'm so excited. I have 10 pages of notes. 10, literally 10 pages of notes. Okay, so let's get into it because this movie was amazing. I've seen so many different takes on social media. I have been bypassing them because I didn't want it to interfere with my take that I wanted to do today. So I'm excited to finish my take up so I can listen to everyone else's point of view because I love that. So if you haven't seen the movie, you have to check it out. Okay. Sinners was a metaphor, and it's crazy because I'm seeing so much talk about the name of the movie, but it's the name of the movie, the title of the movie is Sinners, but it's titled Sinners as a metaphor. So let's get into this deep dive. So sinners, let's talk about what the definition of sinners means. Okay, and I just pulled a basic definition from Google. It says people who commit sin, typically used in religious or moral contexts. A sin is generally seen as an act that goes against divine law or moral principles. Okay, and the reason why I want to highlight that is because anyone can be a sinner. Anyone can be a sinner. So Ryan Coogler, okay, which is the man on the left, he created this film Sinners with his black wife, by the way. This is a richly layered film that intertwines supernatural horror with profound spiritual and cultural themes. The movie is set back in 1932 in Mississippi. It follows twin brothers Smoke and Stack. They are both World War I veterans who return home to a juke joint, or they return home to open a juke joint, and they are confronted with vampire invasions that threatens their community and their heritage. So that is basically what the movie is about. Is truly like that is what it's centered around, but let's actually break it down. Like what does this all mean for us Black Americans? Because when it comes to this movie, the undertone to me was to empower Black Americans, and it was to help you reclaim your identity in a system that has stripped it from you in many, many, many different ways, which is why I consider this movie to be richly layered to inspire us to move forward in our true identity as Black Americans. And I'm going to get into that here. But to me, it's all about embracing the quote unquote sinner identity. And the title reflects a central theme of the film, reclaiming our identity and the challenge of societal judgments that we face. Kugler explains that, and I pulled this based off of his reasonings behind why he decided to create this film, but he explains that the term sinner is deeply connected to the Delta blues, historically labeled as the devil's music by religious institutions. This label was, now, Black people, and I'm talking to my Christians right now, this label, I'm highlighting this part for you, okay? So then you will understand why the name of the movie was labeled Sinners. This label was used to marginalize Black musicians and their art, okay? So when we say reclaim your identity, we're not saying you need to claim being sinful or you need to claim being a quote unquote sinner. It's things that have been labeled sinful. Your identity has been labeled sinful. Your Blackness has been labeled sinful. Your Blackness has been weaponized against you to the point where you don't want to live. You don't want to operate in your true identity. You don't even want to acknowledge your ancestors. You don't want to acknowledge their spiritual practices at all. You don't want to acknowledge your heritage, your culture. You think everything about it, if it's not in alignment with white Christian nationalism, then it is demonic. And I could go off the deep end with that, but I'll save that for later. So by embracing the quote unquote term, the film highlights the hypocrisy of such judgments and celebrates the resilience of Black culture. And this is why you should go see the film. Okay, it's not to promote demon time. It's not to promote, sinning. It's not to promote any of that. It's actually to bypass what colonization has done to us, white supremacy has done to us. It's to bypass all of that. Okay, so I want to break down the film into a few different categories. So first, I'm going to start with the music, right? Music is a spiritual force. Music has always been a spiritual force. And in this movie, it showcases over time what our culture has, like where it originated from and how it transitioned into what it is today. And part of the reason it has transitioned from rituals that we used to do, ancient dances that we used to do, like twerking was all about activating your root chakra, and it has turned into something else. But why has it turned into something else? Why has it turned into something that you would label sinful? Well, when you consider when, the vampires, aka white supremacists, the vampires, aka the palm color people, when they get their hands on our stuff, it's crazy how it transitions over time into something that you don't even want to claim, which then again, it translates into you not wanting to claim your own culture and where you come from and the things that your ancestors and your heritage would practice, partake in for different spiritual reasons. Okay, which is why music in this movie was showcasing how it is a spiritual force, which is why we need to start gatekeeping our music and just our art in general. But music is particularly the blues. It serves as a powerful spiritual element in the film. The character Sammy, which we all know and love. Let me go ahead and pull him up. Okay. Sammy, a young blues prodigy, possesses a supernatural music ability that both empowers his community and attracts the attention of vampires. If you look at the music industry and you look at the record labels, majority of them are owned by, I'll just call them vampires throughout this the majority of them are owned by vampires. Okay. These production companies, a lot of them are owned by vampires. Okay. They're not owned by us. We are owned by them, which was very clear in this movie. They took us off the plantation and they still wanted to own us through our art, through our culture they still wanted to own us, but just in a different way. Okay, so Sammy, a young blues prodigy, possesses a supernatural music ability that both empowers his community and attracts the attention of vampires. His music symbolizes the enduring spirit and cultural legacy of Black Americans, acting as both a source of strength and a target for those who seek to exploit it. So in the film, and I'm probably going to be hopping all over the place because, like I said, I broke this kind of down based off of my notes and things like that. Oh yeah, this is definitely staying up for the culture. We're doing this for the culture. I'm going to put my neck out here for the culture. But I wanted to highlight when Sammy was fighting off the vampire in the inn at the pond, right? In the pond. And he was saying that I want your stories. I want your music. Did y'all not hear that part? That was very loud. That stuck out like loudly to me. Like I want you, I want to own everything about you, and I want to profit off of it. And we see that today. We also see how you have to carry moral integrity. Moral integrity is that basically what Sammy did at the very end, where he didn't sell his soul to live a immortal life. He decided that he was going to live the rest of his days until he dies so that his soul could live on forever. Most people in entertainment, Black people in entertainment today, we see them sell their soul for power, right? Which I'm going to get into that later. Oh yeah, we are breaking this down. I said I got 10 pages. Okay, so let me keep going. Now, let's get back to the origin or the history of the Delta blues, which I actually learned this through this movie, which was cool because I feel like I'm being educated about my history, about history that I don't even know about through this film. And by the way, I want to highlight too, because I think this is important. I went and saw this movie blindly. I did not even know this movie was coming out. I didn't even see any previews. I didn't see nothing. So I watched this blindly, which I watched it so blindly, I feel like I need to go watch it a second time. So if I come back with a recap video, part 2, girl, that's why. Because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I don't know what I thought. I felt like I was being gifted something. Like, that's what I felt like. I was like, wow, like, dang, this is amazing. So let's get to the history of the Delta blues. So, rooted in Mississippi, Delta often revolves around raw emotion, hardship, soul, and sin. Okay? So, yes, when it came to blues, they would create stories. And it's kind of like country music, okay? It's very similar to country music. Blues and country music is very parallel, okay? Which they stole, but let's not get into that. Let's stay focused, okay? So they tried to steal blues, but I feel like they couldn't steal that from us, so they labeled it demonic or sinful music, okay? Or devil worship music, because they couldn't steal it from us, right? But they did steal country, and you see what they doing with that, all right? That's a hot topic. But let me stay focused. This is why I had to take notes, because I needed to stay focused. But the blues singers often told stories of moral struggle. Okay. Now, this is what was so interesting to me was everyone wanted to judge Smoke and Stack, right? They were considered to be gangsters, right? Gangsters. But I don't feel like they was bad people. I don't feel like they was bad men. I feel like that they were playing the same game that white supremacists were playing. Okay. But see, when you're white and you do it, when you're white and you commit crimes, you get away with them. Very similar to today. But when you're Black and you commit crimes, and really you're committing the crimes because you are being treated unjustly, right? You're not being treated fairly. You're not being given equal opportunities. You don't have white privilege, but they do. And so the blues singers would often tell stories of moral struggle. Now, who wouldn't struggle morally if you're faced under these conditions? You're hungry. You want a pair of shoes. You want land. You want a car to drive in so you don't have to walk 10 miles to and from. You get what I'm saying? They wanted a piece of the American pie. So blues singers would sing about the moral struggle. Okay. And I believe that that's part of the reason why they tried to label it the devil's music. Okay. So they told stories of moral struggle, broken hearts, drinking, gambling, cheating, and that gritty fight between good and evil. So Delta blues, it was a region that stretched from Mississippi, Tennessee, down to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and to the west of the Mississippi River. So that is where it was founded, and that is what they were known for. Okay, and it makes sense. I mean, when you think about the deep south of Mississippi, who would not struggle morally, especially around the era of Jim Crow? And it's just like, who wouldn't? You know, like, if we're just being realistic, who would not struggle with that? Okay. Now let me move on to vampires. This is the part that has religious people in an uproar, and they feel like they shouldn't go see the movie. Vampires is simply a metaphor. It's not playing into the idea that vampires are real. It's not playing into the idea physically real. Let me rephrase that. Physically real. Spiritually real, yeah. Physically, no. Okay, it's not playing into that. A lot of religious people feel like that's what it's promoting. No, if anything, that was Vampire Diaries, or that was Richard. No, not Richard. What's his damn name? Edward. What's that damn name? What's the name of that movie? What is the name of that movie? Edward. Damn, I always forget it. Edward. I just remember her saying Edward. Twilight. Like those movies or shows, I would be like, okay, but that's not what they are promoting in this movie. It's simply a metaphor, okay? And vampires is a metaphor for oppression, aka the Ku Klux Klan, aka white supremacy, aka colonizers. Okay, that is what vampires are used as a symbol or as a metaphor in this movie, and that's why it's amazing, because it's entertaining. It is a part of the horror category, but that's not what the focus is. The focus is to express Black Americans' oppression. That's why this movie was richly layered, okay? So vampires and sinners are not just supernatural beings, but metaphors for historical and ongoing oppression. They represent colonizers and white supremacists who seek to consume and control Black culture. The film draws parallels between vampirism and the exploitation of Black art, illustrating how cultural appropriation can drain communities of their heritage and vitality. Okay? So, yeah, you could say culture vultures, the Kim K's, it was really calling them out, okay? So what the film is wanting Black Americans to do is to reclaim their spiritual authority too. Okay, so this is another category. So you have the vampire metaphors for oppression, white supremacy, and colonizers. And then another layer in this film was re-imaging your spiritual authority, which is what Black people struggle with the most. Okay, and I'm trying to decide how deep do I want to go with this, because in a departure from traditional vampire love, Sinners portrays Christian symbols and institutions as effective against evil. That was very loud in the movie. The scene where Annie, let me pull her up. Annie put that she did her root work. Okay, she did her root work, and I think, is it called a mojo bag? Is it called a mojo bag, y'all? the mojo bag that she did her root work on and handed it back to him. And you know, people, and this is another thing. Is it Smoke and Annie? Okay. The reason why I believe he loved this woman was because he didn't believe in her spiritual practices. But he still loved her, though. Do you not understand that most, especially conservative men, they would never go for no shit like that? So a lot of women are sitting up online debating if he actually loved her. And I do think he loved her in the way that he knew how, considering everything that he had been through in life. Being a World War I veteran, then he unalived his father to protect his brother. And then he lost a child, which added another layer of strain to their relationship. But the one thing that he could have really truly held against her, bypassed the fact that she's a full-figured, dark-skinned black woman, okay, bypassed the texture of her hair, right, and the color of her skin. He also loved her through her own spiritual practices. And I don't see black women talking about that. And I think that that's pretty amazing. I do. I think that's pretty amazing that even though he didn't believe in her spiritual practices, he never tried to change her or control her in any way when it came to that. And he would still allow her to do her little root work, even though he thought that she was just being a little kitchen witch, right? He was like still allowing her to do that. Y'all don't think that that's love? I think he loved her. That's just my opinion, considering the situation and the conditions that they were under. And then another thing too, when it comes to Annie, she lived the life that she lived because that's what she wanted. She didn't want Smokes or Stacks. I forget the two. She didn't want Stacks or no Smokes money. She didn't want Smokes money. She made that known because she didn't agree with his dealings. She didn't agree with his business practices. So a lot of people were like, okay, he was Smokes. Okay, I always get them confused. But anyway, he was living a lifestyle, like he was a gangster. So he was living a lifestyle that she did not like. And I feel like spiritually, she knew it was dangerous. And she felt like if she supported his little business deals and things like that, that she knew about on the side that were most likely crooked, right? Then she would be supporting his own demise or his own misfortune because she was spiritual. So Annie lived in that shack and she was a spiritual list store owner where she served her community. She lived that lifestyle because that's what she wanted to live. Okay. I know some of y'all y'all wanted Smoke to come through, drop off money so that she could get luxury bags and shoes and everything. But she chose morals and principles over money. That's why she was in the shack. Okay. I feel like a lot of people are overlooking that. She chose that life because she just wanted a simple life. All right. And it seemed like Smoke wanted more for himself, which I'm not saying is necessarily wrong. It's just the way he went about it is what she didn't like. So she chose the life that she wanted to live based off of her own belief systems. And again, he never tried to change her. He supported her way of living and her way of doing things, even though he would still try to like offer her money, offer to do this. And she would always be like, no, I'm good. No. So it's like if a black woman is telling you no, and a man is trying to help you and you're steadily saying no, how can you say he don't love you? I don't get it. Anyway, let me continue. So when it comes to the root work that you saw her do in this film, it was highlighting the fact that the institutionalized, I would say the Christian symbols and the institutionalized practices that we use today are ineffective against evil. And so her root work was the only thing that worked. It was the only thing that actually kept Smoke safe. As you can see, it did not keep Stack safe. Stack was the one that got bit by Mary. Okay. She was married bit Stack. And it was because most likely he was covered under the Christian symbols. And then Stack got bit. Oh no, I'm sorry. Smoke was not bit. If you notice, he never got bit throughout this entire movie. He never got bit. He got shot, but he never got bit. And again, when you think about the vampire being a metaphor, right, for oppression and the different things that we face as Black people, she was protecting him from that. Okay. So that's huge. That was very loud too. I don't really see a lot of people talking about that, but that's pretty much what I got, was she was protecting him from white supremacy. Okay. And she still protected him after the fact, because he was able to pull up on the Ku Klux Klan that had every intent to come and just wipe him on out. But he was prepared for them. Her protection work was working. Okay. So her root work that she was doing on this man was working. Okay. And there's no telling what other stuff she was protecting him for when he was in Chicago, or when he went off to war. Like, she was steadily protecting him from every little thing that he may have been experiencing when he was away from her, which is huge. So again, and this is a hot take. But re-imaging spiritual authority was huge in this movie. So instead, it is the character Annie who practices folk spirituality, which I'll explain what that is later, who understands and combats the vampire's threat. Okay. And white supremacy, colonizing, all of that is a threat, right, to the Black man in this case. This shift challenges conventional narratives and elevates our ancestral knowledge as a vital source of spiritual power. Now, you know what I find so interesting about all of this? The reason why I find all of this so interesting is the same message was in the piano lesson. Y'all remember the piano lesson? The piano lesson was on Netflix. I recommend that you check that out as well, because that was the same message. In that movie, the preacher was calling on Jesus, right? And they weren't able to get the demon out the house, okay? And the demon in that situation was also a white supremacist as well. And so they needed the demon spirit to get out of the home. So he was calling on Jesus. He was reading the scripture aloud and nothing was working. And then when she got on that piano and she started playing and she started calling on her ancestors, okay, AKA her angels, all of a sudden the demon was removed from the home. So that has been a consistent message that, even Kendrick Lamar at the freaking Super Bowl, like, girl, they are trying to tell y'all what the hell is going on. And, you know, Black people are still on the plantation, and we're going to get into what that means here in a sec. But it's like they trying to tell you the truth, but it's like they can only do so much. They have to disguise it under entertainment because they don't want you to know the truth. Okay, so let's get into the next part of this movie. It also had a layer of legacy and redemption. The film's conclusion is set decades later, and it shows an elderly Sammy being offered immortality by his now vampire cousin Stack. Sammy declines, choosing to remain mortal and continue sharing his music. We don't see this today. We see a lot of sellouts. Let's just call it what it is. This decision underscores themes of legacy, the importance of cultural transmission, and the choice to live authentically in the face of adversity. So when it comes to cultural transmission, the reason why Sammy refused the offer was because he believed in legacy. He believed in the cultural transmission. And we have a lot of Black people in spaces or in positions of power, in positions of somewhat control. And you know what they do? They don't consider the legacy. They don't consider the importance of cultural transmission. They don't consider keeping things authentic. They don't consider just keep it the purpose and why you want to keep things authentic within the culture. It's what keeps the culture rich, because you're honoring the people. But honoring the people, that's demonic. Yeah. In essence, when it comes to sinners, it uses framework of a vampire narrative to explore deep spiritual questions about identity, cultural survival, and the power of art as a form of resistance and healing. Wasn't it art? It was beautiful. Art is good when it will have you reflect. That's when art is good. That's when you know it's real. That's when it's richly layered. Okay? Like, I'm sure if I go watch it again and again, I'm going to get something different from it. That's when art is just, woo. Okay. It's good art. All right. So let's get into Black Americans reclaiming their identity. Okay? And you know what I got? I decided to ask ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, what should Black Americans take away from the movie Sinners? I just wanted to see what ChatGPT would say. And it said that Black Americans should take away from Sinners reclaiming their identity from judgment. Okay? And the word sinner historically has been used to shame, especially in Black communities, where anything outside of religious norms like blues music was often condemned. The film flips that, showing how so-called sinful things like music, joy, or rebellion can be sacred and revolutionary. It's a call to stop internalizing judgment and reclaim what was always powerful. Isn't that beautiful? ChatGPT came up with that. Can you believe that? Crazy. So I thought that was interesting. Let me move on to my thoughts. So back to my thoughts. Art and this is what was very rich in the film too. Art is a layer of ancestral weaponry. Okay. So blues isn't just music in Sinners. It's a weapon. It's a language. It's a legacy. Your spiritual practices that you don't practice is a weapon that you're not using at all. You're not using it at all. Okay. And remember when I said music is a spiritual force. So if we don't even control our own music, how can we use it as a weapon through a spiritual force? We can't, because we don't own our own music. We got the vampires in our shit, eating up all our food, drinking the Kool-Aid and eating the cornbread. Like, that's why. Okay, we can't use our music as a weapon to empower our people. We can't use it as a spiritual force. We can't. They own it. Okay, that was huge. So it says here, blues isn't just music in Sinners. It's a weapon, a language, a legacy. Sammy's gift with music becomes a spiritual force that defends his people. Black Americans' creative expression is divine and ancestral, not just entertainment. See, our stuff is always reduced to entertainment. And that it's not just entertainment. Okay? It is divine and it is ancestral. Okay. And in the movie, the most powerful scene to me, y'all, was when you saw how our art had evolved, right? How it had changed over time, how certain movements were rituals that we actually partook in, or they were dances that were part of sacred ceremonies. That was the most powerful scene in the movie, y'all. Powerful. I love that part. Gosh, it reminded me of a painting that I used to see as a kid all the time, and you would see them kind of dancing. And I always thought that it was a church, but now I look back at that painting and I think it was a juke joint. So that's interesting, but that was the most powerful scene in the movie. Also, It's not just so our creative expression is divine and ancestral, not just entertainment. It holds memory, history, resilience, and liberation. And this is what you're denying yourself of when you are demonizing the very thing that shapes your identity and that makes yourself who you are. And they intentionally did this through cultural appropriating so that we would hate ourselves, so that we would not want to embrace our identity at all. And this is why this film is wanting you to reclaim your identity. Hell, ChatGPT is telling you to reclaim your identity. Okay? So the next point that I want to highlight is I stated here, I said, be aware of cultural vampires. Okay? Be aware of cultural vampires. Baby, we don't do a good job with gatekeeping. We don't. We don't do a good job with gatekeeping. We don't. We're horrible at it. Let me see. Ooh, here it is.
So the white girl that's been at the trail rides dancing to the remix of Morgan Wallen and Wetter is trying to charge $6,000 for her to come to a trail ride and do a dance that she didn't even fucking make. And this is why a lot of people get mad when y'all sit up here and y'all jump like fucking jackrabbits every time white people do some bare minimum ass shit that black people do every fucking day. Because the owner of that fucking dance is alive, well, young, and still doing the motherfucking dance as we speak. And do y'all know that the owner of the trail ride, that was his second option?
That's crazy.
His second option was the owner of the fucking dance. His first option was the fucking colonizer. This is exactly why we had Charli D'Amelio. This bitch had a whole fucking Hulu series because she got famous off of a dance that a black person made and didn't even give them credit until like a fucking year after. Same thing with the white girl that was going viral because she was singing the Lil Baby song, the most mainstream Lil Baby song that everybody motherfucking know. She was singing the song, somebody videoed her, and then she went stupid viral, and motherfuckers was trying to give her $1 million out their back pocket. Like, y'all was literally trying to give her y'all 401k because y'all seen a white woman singing the Lil Baby song. Like, that shit is fucking weird. And y'all wonder why cosplaying is so bad. Y'all wonder why cultural appropriation is so bad. It's because black people keep supporting the fucking bare minimum.
Okay. Y'all know I like to bring in some receipts. Okay, so be aware of cultural vampires. All right. So the vampires represents those who exploit black culture without honoring the people behind it. Why is it important that we don't allow everybody in to drink the damn Kool-Aid? Because not everybody honors the people. Not everybody honors or recognizes the oppression that we face and the resilience that we carry because of it. Not everyone honors the struggle of being black. That's why. Like, you are disrespecting yourself, and it's the lack of self-respect. Because if you had respect for your people, but how can you have respect for your people when every little thing about you being black and having a black experience doesn't matter if it's spiritually, doesn't matter if it's socially, but you're seen as a demon, a sinner. Every little thing you do is seen as a sinner. I mean, every stereotype that they made for us, it's not positive, it's negative. So of course you think every little black thing that you do, every little black experience that you have, every little black spiritual practice that you naturally embody and carry, because sometimes those things come with AKA spiritual gifts that were passed down through your lineage. But how could you honor that if you are thinking that it's bad or it's sinful? Which brings me to my next point. Y'all remember Sammy, after the vampire encounter, you would have thought that he would run back to the church and run back to his father, but he didn't. And the reason he didn't was because the church was on the plantation and he wanted to leave the plantation. And so you have so many black people out here saying, oh, the movie is demonic. They're scared, shaking in their damn boots. Shaking in their boots. Literally. And the whole purpose and reason behind the movie being titled Sinners was because you are labeling things that make your identity sinful. So Sammy left the church because he wanted to get off the plantation. He didn't want to go out here and live a sinful life. He just wanted to be free. So he left the black church. He left the plantation, and he did not follow in his father's footsteps. And he liberated himself, and he lived a life in his true identity. He was a musician. He was called here spiritually to create stories that were going to be passed down historically within his culture and within his community. Now, what if he wouldn't have done that? He would have been in the church, right? On the plantation. They teach us backwards for a reason. I mean, think about it. Every little thing they do is to disempower us. So if they put the black church on a plantation, let me move on. I'm gonna get into that later, because I got to go back to root work and folk spirituality. I'm gonna get into that. So Sammy. Okay, he wanted to protect his culture. He wanted to protect his community, and he wanted to protect his legacy. Okay, and it's so crazy because Angie Stone, I think of her when I think about I forget what record label, but what they did to her legacy. It's stuff like that I'm referring to. It's stuff like that they are talking about within this movie, which is why I say it's richly layered. Okay, so this movie is urging Black Americans, protect your magic, protect your spiritual force, protect your creative expression, protect what makes you Black, protect your identity, protect your culture, protect the sacredness of the art that you create. Okay. They don't want you to see your art as sacred or magical. They don't. They just want to profit off of it. It's up to you to have enough moral integrity to protect that. Okay. So so protect your magic. You have to know its worth. You have to know that sometimes an American dollar is just it's probably not worth your art. Have you ever thought about that? Like maybe it's just meant to be felt, or it's meant to be seen, but maybe it's not always meant to be profited off of, like $1 million. Like maybe the most you could probably get out of it without selling your soul would probably be maybe $500,000. You know, it's stuff like that. Or maybe you won't get $500,000, but you'll get $16,000 or $20,000. But with you taking the $16,000 or the $20,000 from the art that you created, you still get to honor your people. That's what this is about. So it's not that you should just not be paid at all. Okay. But sometimes when it comes to keeping your moral integrity, you may have to take a quote unquote pay cut. But is it really a pay cut though? If your focus, or if your foundational morality is based in moral integrity, then no, it wouldn't be a pay cut. It would just be part of your life's purpose and journey, right? So everyone wants the flavor, but not everyone deserves access to the soul. And we have so many people eating off the soulful things that we create. We have so many people eating off our souls through our music, through our dances, through our shows, through our movies, through every little thing that we do. Okay? Every little thing we do. We got people eating from our soul, but not even being fruitful with us, not even replenishing the well that we give them, and then have the audacity to make it seem like they created the shit. That's crazy, y'all. That is absolutely insane. But you know, that's how they be doing this out here, y'all. That's truly how they be doing this out here. So let me continue. Now, this is the part that I know a lot of y'all are going to freaking love. Okay. And the reason is because it has a lot to do with root work and folk spirituality. Okay. And this is highlighting why these practices and beliefs matter. And before I get into this part, to anyone that where this video is questioning your belief, okay, I want you to research what I'm about to say. I want you to look into what I'm about to say, because I'm really about to break it down. And your preacher is not going to tell you, right? It's just, you have to, and you know, I joked a few videos ago. Oh, by the way, the Pope died. Did y'all see that? I told you that man wasn't going to live. I said, I don't know how long he got, but he don't got that many days left, because he didn't have the spiritual clearance to do what he did. Okay, he didn't have the spiritual clearance to open up all them damn portals. I told y'all that. And then he died. Crazy. The same reason I told y'all Kevin Samuels passed of natural causes. Big Shirley and Big Mama removed their praying hands, removed their spiritual protection, and said, to hell with your dumb ass. Since you want to sit up on your platform with the loudest microphone and disrespect us. We are the backbone spiritually of the black community, and you wanted to disrespect us? Well, we'll just remove our protection. And you see, he didn't last long. And I told y'all that. I said, that man don't got no spiritual protection around him. They done removed it completely. So, hey, when you don't have spiritual clearance for things, you don't touch them. You don't pick them up. You don't involve yourself at all. Okay? When you don't have the spiritual clearance for these things. And then you don't disrespect your spiritual protection. Okay? You don't do that. So those are just things that I know. So let's get into root work and folk spirituality and why it matters, and why this film decided to highlight this while also labeling the show sinners. Okay. So, folk spirituality is a blend within religion and personal belief. So folk spirituality is personal, informal, and cultural. Well, it's culturally rooted expressions of faith or belief, often outside of institutionalized religion. It blends tradition, local customs, oral history, and spiritual practice, and it's deeply tied to everyday life. Okay? It's often passed down through generations, through music, storytelling, rituals, and daily living, especially among communities who face marginalization or lack of access to formal religious structures. Okay. So before, I don't know, this is what's so weird to me. You know, there was a point where they didn't allow us access to the religious structures, and then they all of a sudden allowed us to have access to the religious structures. Crazy. But let me continue. So Christianity emerged from Judaism, aka Jewish, okay, or Jews. It incorporated elements from pagan cultures of the Roman Empire. Christians were seen as Jewish. They were viewed as another foreign cult within the Roman Empire. This led to a blending of Jewish and pagan ideas and practices. So let me go ahead and pull up this video. Oh, shoot. You telling me I don't have it? Because we about to break that. Do I need to read that again? Christianity emerged from Judaism, aka Jews or Jewish. It incorporated elements from pagan cultures of the Roman Empire. Christians were seen as Jewish. They were viewed as another foreign cult within the Roman Empire. This led to a blending of Jewish and pagan ideas and practices. Okay? Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, I felt like this perfectly tied into what I've been talking about and wanted to educate my followers on. I thought I had already pulled the video, but I guess I did not. Let me see if I can find it, because I had it all. I knew I forgot something. Let me see if I can find it. Well, man, that y'all, hold on, just give me a sec. Let me cook, because it's a lot that I'm about to unpack here in a sec. And I say these things respectfully. I just want people to do their research. That's what I want. Like, I want to see Black Americans challenge their belief system. And when you challenge your belief system, it should lead you right back to what you believe in, because what you believe in is the truth, right? So if you question your belief system, and you questioning your belief system, it should only lead you back to what is true, because your faith tells you that what you believe is true. So you doing research or you challenging your belief system should only lead you back to the truth. That's how I started my journey. I challenged what my belief system was, because I accepted the fact, and I believed that what I believed was true at that time, and I believed that it would only lead me back to what I already believed. Well, that's what I thought at the time. That's not what happened. This is what happened. Hold on. She explained it better than I did, so I'm gonna use her video. Here we are. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, let me play her video really quick.
Can we talk about the dark history of Easter? You gotta make sure you check outside. Sorry to say that Easter has nothing to do with Jesus. Many aspects of traditional Christianity, holidays, practices, doctrines, the bunnies, the eggs, springtime, came not from Christ or the Bible, but came from pagan religion. Easter Sunday is a Babylonian pagan holiday, which idolizes the fertility goddess Ishtar. Worshipping Ishtar was intended to ask for her blessing of fertility on the crops and everything else. On the first Sunday after the full moon, they would celebrate by baking cakes, getting drunk, and committing other heinous crimes. Women were required to celebrate the conception by laying down at the temple of Ishtar and having relations with anybody who walks in. There is a very, very dark history on why they color eggs. Babies were sacrificed, and the blood of the infants were dipped in the eggs for Ishtar. Want to know the reason there's a bunny rabbit? Rabbits can bear several litters of young each year, meaning they have high fertility. Decorating eggs seems harmless until you consider the origins of it. None of this had to do with Christianity. The bunnies and the eggs are not as simple as they seem, and this holiday is not holy. Y'all be safe.
Okay. Now again, we are being respectful. We're being respectful. Okay. Now, the interesting thing, okay, so in her video, she said that this was all to worship a sun god, right? And the interesting thing is, Jesus was not born December the 25th. I keep trying to tell Black people, like, Jesus, whoever Jesus is, Jesus was not born on December the 25th. But a sun god was. But a sun god under the winter solstice. Okay? Now, I could go through my notes and I could pull up receipts of what I'm referring to. But there are very subtle hints in scripture that it was impossible for him to be born in the dead of winter. And I believe it was based off the birth. Let me see if I can, and again, write this down and look into what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to just go off of what I'm saying. I'm asking you to look into what I'm saying. John the Baptist, okay, his birth is a major clue that Jesus most likely was born in late summer or early fall. So a lot of scholars believe that the truth is he was actually born most likely in September. Okay? All right? Then look into the Roman census. Okay? Look into the Roman census as well. And I'm talking about, when I say look into the Roman census, look into the Roman census of, like what the weather was like. Okay. And the reason is because during that time, Mary and Joseph had to travel, right? So when they traveled, how are they traveling in the dead of winter? Okay. So look into what I'm saying. All right. There are signs. So with that being said, I believe like every Easter, the sun, the God, I believe that they are disguising that as Jesus, but really it's the sun god. Okay. And I think the reason why I say that is there's the winter solstice sun god, and then there is the spring equinox sun god. And this is all pagan belief. Okay. This is all pagan belief. This is not Christianity belief. This is all pagan belief, but it was integrated. Okay. It was integrated into pagan practices and pagan rituals. And that's why, like, on the days that we celebrate, quote unquote, Jesus, all of a sudden there's also a celebration for a pagan holiday or a pagan ritual, which is weird. And I need black people, I need black Americans, like, can you start questioning that shit? Like, why are you celebrating on the same day of another idol or another god? I don't believe in coincidences like that. I'm sorry. I don't believe in that at all. Oh, thank you. Oh, my days. Yes, let's educate the people. I appreciate your super chat. These are things that y'all can all look into. But it's like, it's like they're overlaying things to hide things. They're overlaying things to have you overlook them. Okay. So I just think that is so weird. All right. So let me stay focused. So again, a lot of these like pagan holidays, it doesn't matter if it's Christmas. And I think this is what I think is weird is every holiday comes with a idol, like a symbol, like Christmas, Santa Claus. And I think it's so interesting because when you look at Santa, you could take the same letters and spell Satan. Then and every holiday has some sick ritual behind it. Okay, they love orgies and they love sacrificing kids. It sounds like Hollywood. It sounds like Hollywood, don't it? Okay, all right. So, now the interesting thing about this, the Romans. Okay, the reason why they decided to put Christian belief mixed in with pagan practices was because at that time in the Roman Empire, they wanted a dominated religious group. That's what this is all about. It's about population control. Okay. But that's what it was all about. They needed a dominated religious group. And the reason was because if not, then it was going to be harder when it came to governing a group of people. So to make the conversion easier on the people in Rome at that time, they decided to take the Christian beliefs and mix it in with pagan practices. So some of my fellow Christian believers, you demonize root work, you demonize spirituality folk. And it's crazy because basically your spirituality folk is white that you practice. You don't know it. Doesn't matter if you're Catholic as well. All of that. And that's why I never understood it. Listen, I did a lot of research for this video. I never understood why black people that were like super woke, they be like, that's the white man's religion. That's the white man's religion. And I never understood what the hell they meant by that until I looked into the shit. I'm like, oh, so that's why they say it's the white man's religion, because it has no ties to your own heritage or lineage. It has all the ties to theirs, AKA the Roman Empire. Ooh, baby. Woo. Yeah. Tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. Then I can't even stop. Oh, wait a minute. because I didn't even know this. So, okay, let me get back. I'll come back to spirituality folk and I'll explain what that is. Girl. So I did not know that in the South, okay, Afro-Americans they do hoodoo and root work, okay? I did not know that hoodoo in root work is blended with African spiritual practices with Christianity. So technically, hoodoo and Christianity are very parallel. But the only difference is that hoodoo ties you to your blackness. And Christianity ties you to white Jesus with the stringy hair that you saw growing up as a kid. And you also thought Moses was white. You thought Mary was white. You thought Joseph was white. You thought they was all white, right? It ties back to them. And then there's us. Okay? So depending on the culture, depending on the lineage, the heritage, and everything like that, it's going to look different, which I'm going to get into. Okay. Hold that thought, D. Thank you for that, though. So let me see. Where did I have it at? Oh, is it under spiritual folk? Spirituality folk? Okay. So back to spirituality folk, right? Key elements when it comes to, like I said, it's not a religion. It is, I forget what is. It's not a religion. It's a blend. Well, I take that back. It's not just a religion. It is a blend within religion and spiritual belief. So it's a combination of both. Okay. And that's basically what they did with Christianity, but it came from the Roman Empire. Anyway, so let me get back. So folk spirituality is personal, informal, culturally rooted expressions of faith or belief, often outside of institutionalized religion. It blends tradition, local customs. Okay, so again, based off of the heritage, that would look probably semi-different. It would probably look differently in the Caribbeans. Okay, so oral history and spiritual practice, and is deeply tied to everyday life. Okay, so when it comes to the key elements, mysticism and direct experience with the divine or spiritual realm. That is what the key element when it comes to spirituality folk. I'm going to say that again. Mysticism and direct experience with the divine or spiritual realm. So that has a lot to do with your spirit. Like how, we always get that question about how do you know you're talking to God? How do you know you're talking to your angels, aka your ancestors, or your ancestors, aka your angels, right? It's because there's a mysticism that comes with having that spiritual connection. Okay. All right. So another thing too, more key elements when it comes to spirituality folk. So it's use of symbols, charms, rituals, folk magic, okay, which is what we kind of saw in the movie with Annie when she was doing her root work and she was protecting him. That's what we saw, okay? Then it also says here that spirituality folk key elements also has strong ties to music, especially blues. Woo! Y'all, I'm sorry. I can't believe I got to do this sick. Anyway, strong ties to music, especially blues, gospel, spirituality, and folk songs. I love folk songs. Y'all remember those folk songs? The old hymns? The Southern old hymns? Y'all remember the old hymn books that used to be in church? If y'all went to an old school church, then y'all know what I'm talking about. Them old hymns. Okay, I love that. I miss that. The humming. Oh, God, that's so, loved it. Anyway, because I'm sorry, but ain't nothing like a church hymn. Ain't nothing like that church humming. Oh my gosh, I love that. Anyways, so I believe that's what they're referring to when they say folk songs. Focus on another key element too is to focus on ancestral knowledge, dreams, visions, or signs from nature. See, a lot of Black people are spiritually gifted, but they deny themselves of these things because they feel like it's also demonic, but it's ancestral. Okay, you have knowledge that is ancestral that can literally be passed down to you through the spirit and through the soul. All right. And it can come through as dreams. It can come through as visions. It can come through as signs from nature. That's how the Haitians got their Independence Day. Till this day, that's why the Haitians got their Independence Day. And it's exactly why the colonizers keep Haiti poor. Yes, we are naturally spiritual people. All right, naturally. Okay, that's part of your identity. All right, next. D pointed this out. Okay, so this can also be, spirituality folk can also be deeply localized. That's why I said in the South here, they practice hoodoo, they practice root work. If you go to a black person's house in the South, they do not have welcome mats in front of their house. Hell, after I've lived in the South for a while, I threw mine away because I was like, well, shit, they telling me you don't put no welcome sign on the outside of your home. What you doing? And so another thing I want to point out is that in the movie, in the juke joint, right, they wanted them to come in, right? Well, not they wanted them to come in, but like the vampires wanted to come in. The vampires really wanted to come in. So when y'all be putting the welcome mats on the outside of your home, you saying welcome all the spirits into your home, okay? So listen, black folks in the South, black Americans in the South, they tell you do not do that, all right? So it's localized here, and I'm pretty sure in other areas of the world, it may be similar but slightly different, you know. So again, spirituality folk, what it looks like in Mississippi might be different in Louisiana or the Caribbean or in Mexico. You know, it's just gonna be a little bit different. Okay, so another thing that I want to point out too. Dang, this is the end. How did I do on time? Ooh, now we can talk. Okay. So the next thing that I want to point out too is ultimately Sinners invites Black Americans to look at the parts of themselves and their culture that were demonized, then love themselves even harder. It's spiritual, political, and deeply ancestral. Okay. So the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I actually want y'all to do y'all's research when it comes to the things that I talked about in this video. Like, first of all, Judaism was the religion before Christianity. And what the Romans did was they combined Judaism and paganism, and they came up with Christianity. Okay. And this is why all of the Christian holidays or the Christian special sacred holy days are all on the same days as the pagan rituals, aka holidays that they like to do. That's why you see the bunnies and you see the eggs, and then I told y'all about Valentine's Day, the heart. That's the heart is the shape of the end of a butt. Okay, so even on Valentine's Day, there's a whole ritual ceremony that pagans used to do. What else? I have so many other things to say. Did I forget something? Oh yeah, the Christmas tree. I told y'all, like, I tried to tell y'all know who shows a good description of what I'm referring to is Last Kingdom. They kind of showed you in that movie how pagan and Christianity was merged together. Crazy. So I challenge Black people to I challenge Black Americans, question your belief system, question the spiritual practices that you are partaking in. Are they truly of your Jesus, or are they truly of their Jesus? The spiritual practices that you're practicing, are they truly of your heritage, or are they of theirs? Is it that why you may feel like your prayers are not working, or you may feel like God doesn't hear you? I mean, I do think it's crazy because there was a lady on this app where she was talking about God told her to iron her mistresses. No, God told her to iron her husband's clothes so that he could go see his mistress. I mean, it's starting to make sense why the girls keep saying God told them to do that. It must be they God that they talking to. That's what I think. I'm starting to think that. It must be they God that they talking to. Because I can see how they God told them to do some shit like that. Can we also talk about Joan? This is the Karen of modern times. This vampire here, this character, Joan, is a Karen. Did y'all peep that? I peeped that too. And she chose, and she chose her man, just like white women chose their men on election day. She chose her man. Do you see where it led her? Do you see where it got her? Yeah. It didn't save her life at all. That was very loud. So Joan, the AKA Karen, it led her, right, it led Joan to her downfall, didn't it? Damn, that's how white women voted. Hell, that's why the DEI programs are gone, and now they talking about, oh, I'm liable for losing my job. You dummy. DEI programs was for you to come first, sweetie. But when you follow your man, I can see how you confuse your privilege for his. Because you're white and you have white privilege, but you don't have white male privilege. You don't have white male privilege, sis. You got to have the penis. All right? You don't have that. And so you found out. You had to fuck around and find out. Just like Joan, she had to fuck around and find out too. How following your white male is just a setup. That's all it was. It was a setup, wasn't it? In the movie, it was a setup, right? That's all I saw. I was like, oh my God, girl. This white lady's husband done set her ass up, got her into some bullshit. So, right? It's that internalized misogyny, isn't it? Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. Oh, you thought I wasn't going to talk about Mary? The preferences of the world and of the century. She thought because she thought that she could bridge the gap between black people and white people. And she put them all at risk because of that. And listen, biracial people, I love y'all. I have a biracial niece. She is half black and half Hispanic. All right. But you have to still know your place because of the world that we live in. Not because you have to deny yourself of your blackness or your other side. It's simply because you have to acknowledge both sides. Okay. And when you acknowledge our sides, it comes with a lot of things. Like, you cannot be dumb and naive to think that you could bridge that gap. That you even have the power to do that. So that was loud in this movie too. And it put them they put them at risk. Back then, y'all know that one drop rule, she was considered to be black, but she was white passing. I'm talking about during Jim Crow era. She was considered to be black, but she hid her identity and she passed as white. Y'all know what that is. The one drop rule was huge back then. Okay. That's why she was hanging out with them. That's why she was around them. Okay. So that was huge. What did she say in the movie? I forgot. It wasn't her dad that was black. It was her grandfather. That's what I want to know. Was it her grandfather that was black? Who was black? How did she have ties? I want to say it's her granddaddy. I think she said her granddaddy. Woo. That's what I want to know. It was the grandfather? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. But back then, even if you were like a quarter of black, you were considered to be biracial or black or mixed. Okay? Today, it takes on a totally different meaning, but back then, that's just what it was. All right? That one drop rule was very huge back then. It went further than just the brown paper bag. So she still had to, quote unquote, hide her identity. And she still felt the need that she was responsible, like most biracial people do. She felt like she was responsible for bridging that gap. Okay. All right. All right. So I wanted to highlight that as well. You know, everyone's dragging her. I thought she was beautiful. You know, they're calling her the modern day 304. But you know what? I feel like that's so unfair to say. And the reason is because she most likely was married to an old ass man. You know how they used to marry the young girls and they would ship her off. And so she seemed very young to be married to me. Like she seemed like she was a teenager. So I thought it was weird how people want to stereotype her to be this or to be that. But she was most likely just a young black girl that was dealt a certain type of hand similar to Smoke and Stack. But because she's a woman and she's sexual, you look down on her. But Smoke and Stack are perfectly fine because they're men. And even though they were out here doing illegal activities, we're going to look past that. But we're going to shame this black woman who most likely never had a real chance at life because she was groomed very young to marry old because it would probably offer her the best future. Did you see how she was dressed? She was a kept woman. Okay? She was the sprinkle girl. All right? That's what she was if she was going to be anything to me. She was a sprinkle girly. Okay? She took care of business, but she's still young. Okay? She's still young. She still had her youth. So she just wanted to have fun. That was it. She probably wanted to feel her age. Like, my gosh. But it just goes to show in Black American culture how we have so much compassion and understanding for the black man, but when it comes to the black woman, we do not. We hate her guts because it has a sexual undertone to it. But isn't this why Stack was bit by the vampire? Was because okay. You know, the only reason why Miss Pearline didn't make it was because she got caught up that night. Honestly, if she wasn't there that night, she would have been fine. But Sir Stack, it was gonna be your whole damn life. So, hey, that's all I want to say. I don't get why we have so much compassion for the men, but we don't have compassion for the women. I don't get it. And she was in survival mode. I don't get it. Now, a lot of people wanted to talk about the Asians in the film, and I wanted to bring that up as well. I'm not going to get into the whole discourse about Grace and whether she should have put them all at risk to let the vampires in, which I think is crazy. But, like, are we considering the fact that that was her husband that was out there? And she just wanted to know if he was okay? Now, was it selfish of her to do that? Like, hell yeah. Like, but I'm just thinking about it from a trauma response way. Like, I would probably be completely out of my mind. And yeah, I probably would be like, can you go get my husband, my kids? Like, I'm liable to lose everything. Like, so I don't think she was thinking clearly. Like, that's what I got from her part. I don't think she was really thinking clearly. She was thinking very emotionally. And I mean, how would you be thinking in that moment if you know your husband's out there, your daughter's still at the store, and oh, she already knew he was turned? How did I miss that? Because we didn't see him. We didn't see him. And then, well, I think she wanted to know first, and then she still wanted to let them in afterwards because she was in denial, y'all. Like, that's like, she was in denial. I don't get it. Like, how is this is my question. How is she supposed to react? Oh yeah, it was the guilt. Yeah, because she's the one that sent him out there. So like, that's what I want to know. Black people, how is she supposed to react? Because I felt like they all struggled with it, but just in different ways. That's what I wanted to know. Like, even Stack, he couldn't even unalive his brother. So I don't know. I just wanted to know. Yeah, let me mention Cornbread too. I don't know why, but he's always playing these parts. Omar Miller is always playing these parts, but he played them so well though. Like I wouldn't expect anything different. But I just enjoyed his part. I enjoyed his name. His parts were funny too. Yeah, I felt like it was a lose-lose situation, but she was being emotional, y'all. I don't think she was thinking clearly. I don't think she was thinking about putting them all at risk. I think she was thinking about getting to her husband and her children. I don't think she was thinking about how she would have to put them all at risk. My issue with Grace was when it became clear that he was bit and she kept pressuring the issue. And then how she died was just, girl, what the... It's like she wasn't trying to preserve herself for her daughter. Like, girl, you still got to live for your daughter. Okay, like, your man is down. But, girl, what about your damn daughter? You just going to leave her behind? I didn't understand that part. That's what I didn't get. Okay, but I also wanted to talk about this. Hold on, let me pull it up. Here it is. So Ryan Coogler, what's his name again? I forget. Gooler. Let me be respectful, y'all. I forgot. What's his name? A Coogler. Okay. He wanted to highlight this untold story of. Let me remove this now. American Southern Chinese. I had no idea. Like, this is so cool. So I'm like, let me share this with y'all.
In the first part of this series, we learned about how San Francisco's Chinese fought exclusion. In this part, we'll visit the Mississippi Delta, where a Chinese community has played an unexpectedly important role. The Mississippi Delta, home of the blues, endless fields of green, and a land cultivated by the hands of slaves. But in between, for more than 100 years, the Delta has also been home to a small but influential Chinese community that's been navigating an identity that's both American and Chinese.
The corn, we need to start all that. Let me get that.
This is Sally and Gilroy Chow, and this is their 46-year-old walk. We heard about these dinner parties they throw to get together with friends and eat Southern-style Chinese food, like fried rice with lots of bacon. So we decided to go meet them and find out how their families ended up in the Delta.
This is a store that I grew up in many, many years ago. We lived in the back of the store before we bought another house.
Like most of the Delta Chinese of the time, Sally's parents opened and ran a grocery store. The Chinese originally came here to work in the cotton fields. With the end of slavery, plantation owners could no longer depend on the free labor of slaves. So they looked to the Chinese, who were cheap, disposable, and politically voiceless. But with harsh conditions and little pay, working in the fields didn't last long. They soon started opening grocery stores in small towns up and down the Delta.
I mean, it was a phenomenon. When I think about how the Chinese came and just settled in the Delta, from Memphis to Vicksburg, I mean, just look at it. It really filled a particular need because nobody else wanted to do it.
These stores played a uniquely important role in the segregated South, serving the black community when the white community wouldn't. And this was significant because it meant more than 70% of the population got their groceries and
I gotta stop it right there. That's why the Asian man has so much money. He's been the middleman when it comes to both white people and black people. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? So, and it's I've wanted to talk about this, but I was like, black people, in order for us to really build a stronger community, we're gonna have to stop labeling our businesses just black, because you see other races do it, but like it's not the forefront of their business or their brand. It's the product or it's the service, right? It's what they're offering. It just happens to be Asian owned or it's white owned or something like that. It's like for us as black people, we really haven't grasped that idea and change. But I think it's time that we do that, because if not, we're not going to expand. We're not going to really grow. And then you got to deal with black people who don't want to support you. You know, they don't want you to get ahead of them. So you got some of that energy going on. And so you're going to have to open up your mind to the idea of catering to other people and creating a diverse business, because that's going to carry you further. And that's something that I could say that they have successfully done. And it's put their community in a stronger position.
Everyday goods from a tiny Chinese community. Frida's family store in Minsang started out in the 1930s as two different buildings across the street from each other. One serving black people, the other serving white people. Neither black nor white, the Chinese community found themselves in the middle.
It was like a 3-lane road. There were the whites and the blacks and the Chinese. We all stayed in our lanes and we were fine until we crossed over.
The Chinese grocers depended on the black community for business and also served them in very practical ways. Like when Jean's father's customers couldn't pay for their groceries right away, he let them use credit.
People didn't have that much cash, and so he would have credit, and they would come in 1 week, pay a little bit on their bill, and take out more.
Isn't it?
And that was just kind of how they survived.
This kind of trust was essential because of the economic burden non-whites faced. Where Jean grew up, the median annual income for whites was just over $4,000, more than 4 times the median income of non-whites. Over dinner, Sally and Gilroy's friends had plenty of grocery store memories to share with me.
What was the worst?
The
mopping the floor.
On Saturday night.
When you were old enough to be able to see over the counter, many of us started working in the store. It was just expected of us.
Living and working alongside our mom and dad was 7 days a week, morning until night. I mean, even Christmas Day. They open 365 days a year.
Dang.
You know, there's one thing I didn't even realize. During the Exclusion Act, the Chinese were not allowed to own property, so they lived in the back of their stores. Even when exclusion ended in 1943, many families couldn't afford to buy a new home.
We lived behind the grocery store, one big room divided into 2 rooms. We didn't know anything else, so we thought it was kind of fun. But you know, as we went to school and realized people had homes, we thought, well, that's different.
When it came time for Frida to go to school, it was the first year that the town she lived in, Greenville, allowed Chinese children to go to white public schools.
Prior to that,
This is crazy.
all the Chinese children had to attend this one-room schoolhouse.
Some of these schoolhouses were built by the Southern Baptist Church, which remained a big part of Delta Chinese life.
Lord, we just ask for blessings on this food, bless the hands who prepared it.
Even with their busy lives between the store and family, the Chinese still found time to get together for celebrations, dances, and of course, food.
There was a definite camaraderie with the kids in the Delta. It could be a birthday party or a wedding, whatever. They would have a dance.
We all just loved getting together, and the food was always phenomenal.
Here we are. We're all lonely in the grocery store, and there is absolutely nothing to look forward to. And so you can imagine that. I mean, here was something, a social event that the Chinese could really look forward to.
For many years, the community thrived in the Delta. But over time, as more farm jobs were lost to machines, unemployment increased, and so did poverty and drug use. Chinese-owned grocery stores became easy targets.
My brothers, I mean, they have been victims of 2 armed robberies within the last few years. Luckily, they have survived. We just don't even want to think about it.
Today, most of the Chinese grocery stores are closed. The end of the Exclusion Act brought new work opportunities, and the original grocers fulfilled their duty of working every day of the year to send their kids off to college. Many of their children grew up to be pharmacists. Some served in the military, like Sally's brother Audric, and Gilroy worked on multiple Apollo missions for NASA. But even though they've been here for so long, the Delta Chinese are still often seen as outsiders.
I had an occasion to where I was walking into an office building and some dear little lady said, "Honey," she says, "are you ornamental?" And I didn't quite know how to answer her. I said, "Sometimes."
It happens to me all the time, you know, like, how long have you been here? Or who taught you English? Because are we always foreigners?
I mean, that's a great question. I think about that myself all the time. Are we always foreigners?
Because of our appearance. Because of our appearance, we just look like we just got here. I mean, we don't look like American people.
That's crazy.
Despite these interactions, for the Chinese community here, the Delta will always be home.
Audrey, why do you love it out here?
It's so peaceful, you can't, I'll turn my cell phone off and
Y'all, this is crazy. This is crazy. They in the deep south of Mississippi, y'all. Or, well, yeah, the deep south of Mississippi, y'all. I'm shook. I'm shook. The accent is throwing me off. I'm so glad that they brought light to this because I never knew this. This was so interesting to me. I love that. Okay. Let me see. What else? I think I have more videos to show y'all though too. Like that was so. For. Let me just play this video because I forgot to play this earlier.
Why do we celebrate Easter? Why do you hide eggs and bunny rabbits? Well, think about what bunny rabbits are known for. Humping. Dude, you put 2 rabbits together, dude, next thing you know, there's 100. And then the Easter eggs is fertility. It was for the god of Ishtar. Isn't that crazy? Most people don't know that. Way back in the day, they celebrated by having orgies and making babies. So 9 months later, they could sacrifice those babies to Horus, the sun god, who was born December 25th, by the way. Now, when did they say Jesus was born? December 25th. He wasn't. And everybody knows that. You go ask any biblical scholar, they will say he was not born on December 25th. Then why are we celebrating Christmas?
Listen, I just hope y'all do y'all research. That's all. I hope y'all look into what I'm saying. Let me move on. Man, it's, you know, let me pull up something real quick because I don't think y'all understand how crazy this goes. Like I keep trying to tell y'all, everything that's told to you is told to you in reverse. It's told to you in reverse. Why? To disempower you. Okay? How can you fight evil if things are reversed and you're using your powers, right? Which is like your belief, your faith, your religion, But if things are told to you in reverse, you're not fighting against evil. Is the world getting better or is the world getting worse? That's the question I want to ask y'all. Is the world getting better or is the world getting worse? But if things are told to you in reverse and you're using your power, like your religion, your beliefs, your prayers, everything like that, holy water, whatever, if you're doing those things and it's told to you in reverse, then you're probably not doing those things correctly. Okay? Think about that for a sec. I'm trying to pull this up really quick. I just don't know. Hold on, let me email it to myself real quick. Yeah, this is why I urge people to get more informed so that you know what you're doing and so that it can 1,000% benefit you. Whatever you believe to be true. Okay. But just double check on it though. Okay, let me pull it up. Because I want y'all to see this. And I'll make sure to put a link to this down below. I want y'all to see this. Y'all about to think I'm crazy. Okay, do y'all, hold on, let me see if I can zoom in. Have y'all ever looked at the global hierarchy pyramid? It's very interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. So, hold on, am I able to blow this up? Oh wait, I can't go that big. Okay, let me see what that looks like. Okay, do y'all see where it says angelic realm? Do y'all see where it says angelic realm? Let me see if I can highlight it. Right here. Angelic realm. And then it says angels, archangels. And the higher up you go, there's different angels and things like that. Okay. If you believe you come from God, right, then these angels would be considered a part of your ancestral lineage, right? All right. Depending on what you believe, right? Now, let's go down here. This is where we at. We are the 9-to-5 slaves. It's crazy, right? We are the sheep, the cattle, the NPCs, and maskers. I think that zombies. This is where we at. Clones. This is the Matrix. This is where we're at. They call us the peasants. Isn't that crazy? Then it says general population, human livestock. But then, right above that, it breaks down world population control, right? And there's a football movie that's coming out, and it has a very similar undertone. I think Jordan Peele made it. I will be watching that as well. Okay? But you have like football, you have religion, the medical healthcare industry, the government, the legal system, education, media, entertainment, Netflix. Okay? This is where we are. Now, why is religion down here? Okay, why is religion down here? And why is it not up here? Why is it not up here? This is why is it all the way down there? Well, let me show you why. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. I'm trying to get to this. Do y'all see the Freemasons? Oh, girl. Yeah. The military over here. The political wing over here. Crazy. Okay. This is why the Pope ain't alive. This is like, y'all. This is why the Pope is not alive. Because he did not have spiritual clearance to do what he did. Okay. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. This is a conspiracy theory, because I have to say this on a large platform. It's a conspiracy theory. But like, y'all, I'll make sure I leave a link to this, because y'all got a lot of homework to do. And let me tell you something. This recession is about to expose a lot. Y'all thought so much is being exposed. Like how Gail didn't even go to space. Talk about, we went to space. You know, I really think that when they want us to look to the sky, it's because they don't want us to look down. And what the hell are they hiding down below? What's the saying, as above is below, or as below is above, or as above is below? Which one is it? Is it as above is below? I think it's as above is below. I think that's what that is. I think that whenever they want us to focus on the sky, when they want us to focus on the sky, it's because they don't want us to look down. As above is below. Okay, yeah. That's what I think. And then when they want us to look down, they don't want us to look up. Like, what the hell is going on? Y'all better start questioning things, because like this whole system that we live in is corruption. Everything around you is corruption. Let me go back to my pyramid. Y'all gonna see this a lot on this channel. Okay. Let me look at this. Look at all of this down here at the bottom. Media. All of that at the bottom. It's just, it's crazy. It's really crazy. But it explains a lot though. Corporations, okay? They harvest our energies every year. Do y'all see where it says energy right here? Right here. Yeah. Let me explain that. They be harvesting our energies under these holidays. And these corporations always profit from it. And then the holidays serves as a multitude of things with them. Like they harvest our energy. They also are abundant. They, what else? They're also like profiting, keeping themselves richer. Now, after seeing this, in the pyramid being broken down more further, this is why I said that the only way you could truly crash the system, and this is just me, I'm sorry, y'all. This is just me thinking big, right? The only way you could crash the system is it would have to be taxes. And then it would have to be removing your money from banks. The stock market would have to crash. But then I thought about it. Me and my brother had a conversation, and another part of me is like, no, that's not what's going to crash the system, because we're debt slaves. We think power is money. That's why whenever we boycott, we think the power that we need to have is the money. And you think that is what they want. That is not what they want. They don't want money. They don't see money as power. We see money as power because we're the debt slaves. But they see power differently. Okay, so think about if you were the people up here in this section, or if you were the people up here in this section. If you're not a debt slave, then money is not what you're seeking. Money is not what you're seeking at all. Energy is probably what you're seeking to facilitate all of the rituals that you have to do to keep this shit up, to be honest. Because this is crazy. So a lot of people think money is power, money is power. Not to them. Not to them. Money is not power to them. It's control. It's control. It's always been that way. It's control. Money, I repeat, money is not power. It is control. Okay, so I hope y'all do y'all's research. I'm going to leave this for y'all to look at. I think it's so cool and so freaking fascinating. But when I talk about the patriarchy, this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about the Matrix, when I talk about Babylon, that's what I'm talking about. And when I'm speaking to my fellow religious people and things like that, this is why I don't refer to myself as religious. Because for me to be in religion, I'm down here at the very bottom. Okay? And because there's so much corruption with religion, there's so much corruption with the healthcare system, there's so much corruption in government, there's so much corruption in the legal system, there's so much corruption in the education system, there's so much corruption in media, entertainment, right? Streaming services. There's so much corruption in sports, right? There's so much corruption that I can't trust these things. I can't trust anything down here. I can't, because it's all to keep me in control. So I can't trust anything down here. I cannot. So it's just crazy. Like, there's so much corruption. How do you know what you believe is 1,000% true? That's my question for people. Like, how do you know if everything around you is corruption? And then if this is all about control, because again, the power that they seek is control. The power that they seek is not money. Okay. The power that they seek is control. So if everything around me is corruption and everything around me is basically lies or manipulation to keep me in quote unquote control, then how do I know what I'm believing in is true? You have to question everything. Like, I cannot stress, you gotta question everything, sis. You gotta, and why? Well, let's break this down some more, right? You gotta question the professional sport industry. You gotta question religion. You gotta question healthcare. Are they trying to heal us? My herbalist, please step forward. Are they trying to heal us? Then you got to question the government because, y'all, I have another conspiracy theory that I don't even think we voted for that man. There's part of me that feels like we didn't even vote for that damn man. We didn't vote for them. We didn't vote for that orange man. Part of me feel like we didn't do that. But hey, then you got to question the legal system, which we've been questioning as black people. We've been questioning the legal system because, well, we black and it affects us differently. And then are you seeing how we need to question the education system? Because what the hell is it really preparing us for? What did it prepare? Like, what is the education system? What is it really doing for us? And I feel like it's not doing as much and it's being noticeable now because they haven't even upgraded the educational system. Like, they haven't really truly upgraded the curriculum in order to truly challenge kids in the way they need to be challenged now that technology exists. It's like they could go so much further, but they choose not to. I noticed that. Like, they could go so much further with education, in my opinion. I don't think it's just funding. They try to make it seem like, oh, we don't have enough funding for this. So I don't even believe that that's true. Then the media, right? We see how corrupt the media is. We see that on a daily basis. We always talk about industry plans. We always talk about how they feed us the same shows on black networks like BET, anything black. They feed us certain movies and shows. And I'm just like, we have so many, this is a big rich town. What was the name of that? I just know about the very worst part. What's the name of that what is the name of that show? We got Snowfall. We have I cannot think, 50 Cent's show. We have Kane, Power. We have so many shows about selling drugs. I'm like, damn, how many more shows do we need about selling drugs? We get it. And then you see how they wanted to create like another series and branch it off into another series. They be annoying me with that. Okay. Then the entertainment, we seen how corrupt the entertainment industry is. We see how corrupt social media is. We see how corrupt the algorithm is. Baby, it's time to question everything you know. It's not even just your religion. It's not. You need to question everything around you. And you know what else you need to start questioning? Because they done removed the CDC. Is it CDC? Yeah, I think it's CDC. CDC, they removed they are wanting to remove FDA. You don't even know what food you eating. If you don't start questioning things, okay? And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, because the corruption is gonna be so noticeable with the recession. See, you can't hide things when things are not flowing. So the veil is going to be completely open because the recession is going to reveal a lot, and it's going to reveal a lot to us all. Okay. It's going to reveal a lot to us all as humans, because certain things are not going to be able to be hidden, or certain things are not just going to be able to be swept up under the rug because, well, hell, we don't have nothing to do. This is like a pandemic part 2 because we don't have nothing else to focus on. We don't have nothing else to focus on but being in this position of being in a recession. It's kind of like when you broke and you literally have no money. So the only thing you can focus on is being up in your house. So you start looking around like, damn, I mean, I could clean that. You know what? Let me straighten up. Like, it's kind of like that. And so if we're in this recession, we can't afford to go out and do this and do that. In the middle of the pandemic, we couldn't go out at all, right? But this recession is going to be kind of similar, but slightly different. You're going to be doing what? Focusing on certain things, seeing things differently because your focus is there. You're not going to be so distracted by all of these things. Okay, media, the legal, like those, again, even with this whole recession thing, even with Trump removing the DEI programs, what did they want us to do as Black Americans or Black people? They wanted us to go out there and protest, right? They were waiting on us. They were like, damn, when they gonna show up? And so we didn't even show up. So we're seeing even the legal system differently. Right? And how they trigger us to go out and protest to fit their political agenda. Okay? And I don't even see that. Where is politics? Because politics I think politics is a little bit higher up. Okay. Which is so interesting how politics is higher and all this other stuff is lower. How politics comes above religion. And that's why can we talk about it? That's why some of these political groups, they seem a little cultish to me. And do you notice how there are so many different cults within this society? And it's based off of these different categories. I guess politics would be within the government. But cults are created in football. Cults are created in religion. Cults are created in the medical industry. Okay, and it's based off of like if you notice, I kind of noticed it with and the reason why cults are created off of the medical industry is because of how some medical conditions are socially viewed a certain way. And so it creates a cult within that because of how certain medical conditions or your belief when it comes to the medical industry, like maybe you don't believe in vaccines and things like that. It creates cults within the medical industry as well. The government, politics, cults are within that. When it comes to the legal institution, I'm gonna have to come back to that. Education, it creates cults in that. That's why you have people that pledge and things like that. It creates cults within that. And then you could also view it as the educated versus the uneducated. And then the media creates cults through fans. Same thing with entertainment, same thing with Netflix, same thing with social media. So I think that's interesting how every sector or every category creates a cult within a cult within a cult within a cult. If you're a free thinker, that's the only way you're not in a cult. You have to be a free thinker. So if you're free thinking, then you're probably not associated with any of these cults at the bottom. Okay? You're probably not associated with any of them. You probably just kind of do your own thing, stay in your own lane. Okay? Now, one cult that you have to partake in is the collective cult, right? We are in this together. Okay. We do have to work that 9 to 5. Even us entrepreneurs, like we may not be working 9 to 5, but girl, we still working though. Okay. We got to pay these damn taxes. So if nothing else, so that's what be killing me about people who think when they're rich or they have money that they're above us. And it's just like, listen, you got to pay these bills just like the rest of us. That's how you end up being a slave. It's called bills. And in another global hierarchy, they didn't call us 9 to 5 slaves. They called us debt slaves. So like if you have debt, and it's so crazy how the system works for us, not the people that are truly in power, because again, their power is sourced from control. Our power is sourced from quote unquote money, because we are the debt slaves or we are the 9 to 5 workers. But my point is that in order for you to quote unquote be successful and have a piece of the American pie, we have to basically go into debt. Y'all notice that? Whether you go to college or you go into debt, you get a mortgage. That's the only way you can get a piece of the American pie is you got to go in debt. You gotta go. You gotta go. If you don't have debt, then you're not gonna have a piece of the American pie. So I thought that was interesting as well. Let me see. And then oh yeah. So do y'all see the World Resource Control right here? Yeah. Yeah. And it's corporations. So this is what I've been trying to tell black people. I've been trying to tell everybody that I know that when you boycott, you got to boycott everything. Okay? Oh, I need some ginger tea, y'all. Damn, I should have made some of that. But when you don't boycott everything, like you would have to boycott your credit cards, your bank, your insurance, your pharmacy. You have to boycott owning a home. Hell, you would have to boycott online shopping. You would have to go so off the grid in order for you to truly not participate in any of this. And then for you to truly hit them where it truly hurts, you would have to live off of them. Like you would have to remove yourself from living off of them. So that means you would have to be your own doctor. You would have to be your own spiritualist or religion. You would have to be your own governor. You would have to practice your own legal system. You would have to create your own education. That's the only way. That's the only way. So we make fun of those that do the whole off-grid thing, but listen, this is why they do the off-grid thing. And then they create a farm and they do everything from scratch, from the cattle that they have to just the herbs that they grow. So, and I just want to, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is I just want to encourage Black Americans. You come from that. It's in your blood, okay? You come from that. One thing Black people know how to do is survive. If the United States was to go up in flames, hell, if the world was to go up in flames, Black people know how to survive. That's one thing. That's one thing Black people do. And when we put our heads together, we really know how to survive. And that's why they keep us divided. This is why they keep us divided. And they keep us divided with all of these different categories that create cults. So when it comes to being a fan, they divide us with that. Religion, divide us with that. Medical, divide us with that. Are you a vaccine or are you not a vaccine? Y'all saw the cult mentality during the middle of the pandemic when people who got the vaccine or didn't get the vaccine, they thought that they were better than the other and vice versa, okay? And then you have politics. They keep, it literally says right here, y'all, at the bottom, it says rigged voting systems. Ooh, Jesus. But it creates different cults in this as well because it creates different beliefs, right? Like each section creates different beliefs. All right. Even in education, when you join a sorority, it literally creates different beliefs. Also, depending on how high up in education you go or how low you go, it creates that division. Okay. And then the media too, different perspectives on this show. Like right now, it's creating a divide. Like me talking about this movie is creating a divide because I have my own beliefs. I have my own thoughts, even though I'm very respectful of other people and their beliefs and their thoughts. I like a good challenge, but it doesn't go any further than that. Like I would never want to be at odds with you or anything like that. You know how some people take the shit too damn far. But even the media, different viewpoints and perspectives and how you see things through media creates different cults. And then you have entertainment, you have social media. Social media has created different cults as well. We've seen a rise in online cults. Hollywood creates cults as well, whether you're in the industry, out the industry. They tend to create cults based off of fans and things like that. But this is all about, entertainment is all about behavioral programming. Okay, and it also includes idol worship. Then Netflix, it's a social interaction substitute, which is, so it's to keep your brain rot. So like one thing Netflix loves to do is it loves to have available all of the TV shows, like all of the shows. Now they're starting to cut back on that. And you know what? I find it so interesting is when they give us access to certain things and then they take them away. But remember when Netflix was literally known that if you were to watch a show on their platform, you would be able to binge the entire season. They have completely started to remove that slowly, but I'm noticing how they're starting to remove that. I haven't watched Pop the Balloon on Netflix either. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. Let me see if I have any other videos. Oh yeah. Oh, the plantation.
I'm going to say something controversial, and your cognitive dissonance would deactivate your critical thinking the moment that you feel triggered. I am not trying to offend you, but offense can be a catalyst for change. So if you find yourself upset, fuck you. No, I'm joking. Self-reflect. The black church is a plantation. The black church is a plantation. The black church is a plantation. The black church, tell your mama, is a plantation. I know. I just punched you in the chest. Mwah. Kiss on your forehead. I swear to God, I love you. But the black church is a plantation.
Let me know if y'all want me to react to her podcast. Okay, because she did a podcast episode and this was her promo. And it's so crazy. I don't know if she is having this episode because of Sinners or if this is just her thought process. But like after watching Sinners, I was like, oh my God, I think she's getting at the fact that black church is a plantation. It's an extension of the plantation. It's really crazy. Let me see. It's a continuation of the plantation. It's how we keep the plantation alive. Today.
I want Jordan Peele to come out with some type of religious and spiritual psychosis movie because y'all be going through it. Oh my God, now Sinners is demonic. First of all, logically speaking, why would you as a Christian get up out of your bed, go purchase tickets for a movie called Sinners? Y'all honestly shouldn't even be in the movie theater since Passion of the Christ, if I'm being honest, because everything is demonic. Trust me. It's so funny how y'all pick and choose the trendy topics to notice that it's demonic. Because the same woman, it was a girl that I saw like, y'all not gonna see that's a demonic, but she sits and does bad reviews. You don't find Zeus demonic too? You can't feel the spirit when you watching that? Y'all are weird and y'all are frauds. Religious frauds. I've noticed this. Black people in the Christianity community.
Now, and you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy about baddies? Oh, girl. So, I don't know. I watched Lovely T's video on baddies. I had no idea that baddies was over there creating a cult, again, based off of what I just said it earlier. I did not know baddies was creating a cult. They pray to the baddies' God. They're over there praying to, and this black people. Y'all, pray for our sisters that are still asleep, y'all, because they really be thinking they're praying to a holy idol, and it's crazy. And then the name of the streaming service that baddies is on is called Zeus. Again, going back to the Roman Empire. A lot of the stuff, like, y'all, and it's due to whitewashing. A lot of the stuff is just, man. And then y'all demonize the god and goddesses. But then you'll go pledge at a college campus. Y'all, come on now. If it's white, it's okay. But if it's black, it's not. It's wrong. It's wrong. The goddesses from black culture is wrong, but the goddesses from white culture is okay. AKA the Roman Empire. AKA, was her name Athena? And Zeus and all the other goddesses of the Roman Empire. Like all of that is okay, but like our gods and goddesses is just demonic. Why is their stuff not demonic? Hercules, I don't get it.
Take pieces of Christianity and use it when it benefits them. They still having sex out of wedlock, babies out of wedlock, eating pork, eating seafood. But Lord, please do not go see a vampire movie. You're demonic, you're going to be possessed, and the Holy Spirit is, I don't know, the world is just crazy. But you're listening to Sexy Red on your way to see the Sinners movie. Shut the fuck up. It is 2025. If you don't believe in that white man religious quietly, we don't want to hear it no more. We are way past that slavery giving religion. If you're going to believe in it, do it quietly. Please don't fearmonger. Thank you.
And what I want I want my black Christians, listen, it's still love over here, okay? Because I used to be Christian. It's still love over here, but I will give you a tip on how I was able to transition and deconstruct the Christianity religion. And you know what it started with? It started with me taking my own salvation into my own hands, not relying on pastors, not relying on family, not relying on who else? My Sunday school teacher, like not relying on all of these other people, truly relying on myself and doing my own research and looking into things for myself and coming up with my own perspective about the information that I was looking into. Like I'm responsible for my own salvation. When I joke with dark humor and I say, let me go to hell in peace, it's basically me saying that I am responsible for my own salvation. I have to answer for that. And I'm okay with that. But my thing is this. I am very confident in my beliefs. I'm very confident in who I am. I am very confident in where I come from. And it's because I decided to take my own salvation into my own hands. And one thing that came from it is that no one can tell me God is not real, right? God is definitely real. God has always showed up in my life. But what I can say though is that me making sure I made that ancestral connection with God made a truly huge difference on my life. And I really think the reason why in this show Powerless Against Evil is what they wanted to highlight when it came to the Christian symbols protecting them and how that wasn't working is simply because that's not of your lineage. And if you were to practice through the symbols of your own lineage, if you were to practice through the lens of your own spiritual practices, you would be powerful. And that is what they don't want. So they reverse things, they label things sinful, they label things demonic to keep you from them and to keep you powerless. And that was the whole purpose of this movie. That was the whole purpose of why the movie is titled Sinners. So I hope that you take away from this video to do your own research and to look into things for yourself and come up with your own conclusion of things. Because again, I encourage you to take 100% control take control over your salvation instead of going off of what's been told, what's been said, what's been done, how things have always been. I challenge you to step outside of that. And like I said, the worst thing that could ever happen is it leads you back to what you already believe, because what you believe is true. So it should lead you right back to what you already believe. So I'm going to just leave it on that. I think I covered everything that I truly wanted to talk about. I feel like we could keep it a little more respectful though. Like my whole thing when it comes to this whole divide, I know it's a divide and I know that it was a divide that was intentionally created. And so because of that, I'm not feeding into it. When you know better, you do better. And when you know better, it requires you to do better because you now have to challenge the things that you believe and the principles that you carry, because now you have to challenge them within yourself. So you're not going to sit up on social media. You're not going to sit up on the internet and drag a whole group of people because they're still in a different belief system than yours. Like, I just don't believe in doing that. And then how did they end up in that belief system? How? If you know the truth, then how did they end up in it? So then it's like, can you fault them for not truly knowing the truth? And then how was it taught to them though? It was taught to them that anything outside of it, they should fear, or they should, it's sinful. It's not truly of God. It's not truly angelic behavior. It's not truly of the light. They think it's of the dark. They think it's black magic. They think it's witchcraft. They think it's this. So it's just like, you have to give them grace, seriously, because you have to go back and you have to remember when you were in a similar mindset and how you were afraid to think any different. You were afraid to do anything different. You were afraid to even go and look yourself. So you have to give them grace, y'all. And when it comes to me ending this video, that's just where I'm at. I don't like to be pushy. I don't like to be forceful. I like to encourage people to seek their own inner and understanding and challenge their belief system. And like I said, the only thing it should do is lead you right back to the truth. Because if your faith is real and it's true to you, then the truth and you checking and challenging your truth, if it's true, then it will lead you right back to yourself. It will lead you right back to yourself. Okay? And to my other group of people that watch me, I want to encourage you to reclaim your identity. You're at that point in your life where it's really truly time for you to claim that and stand 10 toes down in it instead of feeling the need to hide yourself. Because part of the issue, we have influence. That's what Black people have. We have influence. We do a bad job with gatekeeping, but we have influence. And instead of us using this power, this magic that we have within ourselves to truly create waves and shifts in the world because of our influence, why don't we use it and show up as our authentic selves, not be pushy and forceful, but just show up as our authentic self, and we don't and see if that influences them naturally. Right? Because it's not with force. And again, I keep trying to tell people that some of you still have that matrix programming, even though you're free, you're liberated spiritually, but you still have that matrix programming where you feel the need to be forceful. You feel the need to control, even through spirituality. Spirituality is all about flow. So you have to speak that over them, that they will know the truth. They will find the truth. The truth will come to them. Okay? Woo! So keep speaking that over them. Keep speaking that over the collective, because you see how they're waking up. Keep speaking that over them instead of getting mad, getting defensive, wanting to go back and forth and have this whole debate. Let them figure it out for themselves, y'all. That's all I really wanted to say. This movie was excellent. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was art. It was amazing. Where I'm at in my journey when it comes to just decoding, reprogramming, deconstructing, rebuilding, creating firmer foundations. This is like putting me in a position where I feel more empowered because I've done the work so far, to the point where when it comes to this truly, it hits. Like, it's empowering to me to keep going, keep creating, keep showing up, keep talking, keep speaking, and try to reach as many people as possible, because that's what the film did for me. So I would like to end it with this. Let me know what the film did for you. How did it touch you? How did it inspire you? How did it motivate you? How did it uplift you? What did it push you to want to do or fulfill? Comment down below. I want to see what y'all thoughts are. And I'm probably going to go see this for a second time. My friend, she hasn't seen it yet, so I'm like, I may go see it with her tomorrow. But y'all let me know how this film impacted you, and how are you going? How are things going when it comes to deconstructing? Because we don't even talk about that. Deconstructing is a journey in itself. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Before you leave, can you please give the video a thumbs up? Please, I would really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to catch you in my next one.